Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Backyard Build. As you can see, we got the Camaro back. When I was at the dealership, the whole thing was a big fiasco. Part of the reason why I hate taking my car to the dealership, for one, when you drop it off, you talk to an advisor and you tell them what's going on with the vehicle. They take some notes, and then that's what the technician in the back goes off of. Well, when they took the notes, they pretty much took down the last thing I said, which when I dropped it off, I told them the traction control lights are on, the ABS, all that stuff, and it's coming up with the code C0035, which is left front wheel speed sensor. I told them I changed out the speed sensor, and then I changed out the hub because it has a tone ring, which, could come up as a left front speed sensor, but sometimes it's a tone ring. So I changed that out. I told them that. I told them I also changed out the front right because online I found something saying that on some Chevys, the C0035 sorry, my dog's barking. The C0035 sometimes on Chevys means the front right, which I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But so I changed out the speed sensor on the front right. I stopped at putting a new wheel bearing on that side because the tone ring looked fine. And so I figured if I just took it to them, they could scan it. Their software communicates with the systems better than, just a handheld scanner. And so I was like, well, let me take to them, see if they can see that the electronic brake control module isn't communicating something on the inside. And so the problem could actually be the brake control module, not the speed sensor, since I changed out the speed sensor on the front left and the wheel bearing. So there's nothing else on that front left that should be sending that code. The only thing left would be the electronic brake control module getting a fault because something's wrong with it. So anyways, and then I told him, and I also found online that it said that the traction control could be getting kicked on because I put larger tires in the back. Well, that was the last thing that I said, and so that's what the tech or the service advisor put down in the notes. And so when they got to it the next day or later that day, whenever it was, I think it was later that evening, they called and left voicemail saying, oh, it's all done. We just had to calibrate the speed sensors and it went to history. So we believe that's the problem. So you can come pick up your car. Well, I didn't ask them to program those, but I was like, well, sweet. If that's what the problem was, cool. But I had said, I don't know if this is what's causing it, but I need to know why the traction control is on. So I go pick up the car. And he's like, we want you to drive around for a few days and see if the light comes back on, see if the issue returns. And I say, well, I'll know before I leave, get to the traffic light here in Salem at Capital Chevrolet, the Capital Auto Group, that whole area there with the golf course, and everybody in the area knows what I'm talking about. I said, before I get to the traffic light on Cherry there, I'm going to know because it'll come back on because that's what it did before. It would come on within a block and a half. And sure enough, I get to just before the traffic light, boom, it comes on. So I spin around, I go back, and I drop it off. And I said, that didn't fix the problem. I don't want to have paid for you guys to calibrate the speed sensors in the back, and that have not been the problem. So what are we going to do here to make this right? He's like, okay, well, we'll get it in, we'll scan it, and we'll look into it more and stuff. And I said, well, I don't want to have to, pay for you guys to have calibrated it when that's not what I asked for. I even called and left voicemail after the fact when I received their automated text saying, oh, this is why it's in here, blah, blah, it's done. And I'm like, no, that's not why I was in there for. But anyway, I digress. So they take it back in, and I tried to call the guy the next day because it's just in there for an hour's worth of diagnostic, and can't get a hold of the guy. Leave a voicemail on his mailbox, can't get a hold of him. I try again the next day because he never called me back that day. And they say, oh, he might be over at Nissan helping out at the Nissan dealership. So they transfer me over there. I get over there and they say, oh, yeah, he's not working today. And I'm like, okay. So then I call another. So after 5 days of it sitting there, because I dropped it off on like Wednesday or Thursday, and then I didn't hear back from the guy until Tuesday morning. He calls me and he says, yeah, they're going to need to dig a little deeper into it. And it's going to be another $670 for work because he's running into a pretty big electrical issue. And I'm like, the car has 90,000 miles on it. There is zero electrical issues with it. The only thing coming up is because I put the conversion with the newer headlights and the fog lights and stuff, the body control module is sending codes because it's saying, it's getting an error, but the lights work and everything, and those don't throw a light on the dash anyway, so nobody really worries about those. But I'm like, well, that's the only thing that you could consider an electrical issue, but it's not an electrical issue. So I'm like, well, I wasn't looking to spend $670 for you guys to diagnose by plugging in and just scanning the electronic brake control module to tell me if something on the inside is faulty. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to do that. But I told him, I'm like, well, I'll come down today and take a look and see, talk to the technician and find out what's been done on the vehicle and see if we can figure out what's going on. So I go down there. Sorry, I got something in my eye. I go down there, and my arms getting tired holding this damn thing. So I go down there, and I just walk straight back because the service advisor I dropped it off with, again, is over at Nissan. And so he wasn't there. So I just walked straight back into the bays where the technicians are at. And the service advisor that had called me back the day before my service advisor called me was right there. And I said, hey, I got the Camaro, the Bumblebee Camaro. Oh, yeah. I'm like, well, I would like to speak to the technician and just find out what's been done and stuff. So he took me over to the technician that looked at it. And I told him, I said, so my service advisor told me that it was going to be like another $670 because you wanted to dig into some pretty big electrical issue that you found or something. And he's like, oh, no electrical issue, which is why I hate taking a dealership, because the technician and the service advisor, first of all, the service advisor usually know nothing about mechanics. So when they take a note, then the technician has to interpret, well, I think this is what they're trying to say. So then they try to dig into it. And then when they put notes down to say what they did, then the technician or the service advisor that knows nothing about cars then makes up some crap and then tells you stuff. And so if I didn't know anything about cars, it was just, Sally taking her car in and say, I don't know what's going on with my car. And they call her and tell her, oh yeah, you got a pretty big electrical issue. It's going to be $670. Well, Sally's just going to be like, oh, I guess if we got to do it. And mind you, that's only to dig in for the diagnostic, not repair whatever it is they find. So I'm like, no, I'm not paying that. So I said, you found a pretty big electrical issue? And he's like, no. I said, yeah, because the only electrical issue you could say is it's getting a body control module code for the headlights, because if you notice, it's got a conversion on the front end. He's like, oh, yeah. And anyway, so I was like, so what's going on? He said, no, so what I wanted to do is because it's still coming up with the codes left front, and what I wanted to do is swap the brand new wheel bearing hub that you put on the driver's side over to the passenger side, and the sensor that's over there, swap it over and see if it followed over. And then if it didn't, then I would assume that the problem should be the electronic brake control module, is what the technician told me. And I'm like, well, in my mind, how does that work out to be some pretty big electrical issue? So again, it shows you that the advisors are just making shit up to try to get people to do the repairs that don't know any better. And I'm like, no, I'll buy a brand new wheel hub bearing or hub assembly for $60, throw it on myself. Then I'll have two brand new ones on the front. And if it doesn't take care of the problem, then I know exactly what it was, because I was assuming it was electronic brake control module. But you think they would have found an easier way just to plug in their computer, read the electronic brake control module, see that there's a fault inside of it, and do it that way. But no, they wanted to charge me to remove the wheel bearing over here, remove the wheel bearing over there, put this one on over there, and then I'm sure he wouldn't swap it back if it was the problem. So it'd be putting the one that was over there over on this side and putting it together. All that labor was what the $670 was. So anyway, I was like, no, I'll take it home and I'll do it. So I'm going to put a wheel bearing on that side, see if it takes care of the problem. Because I am hearing a little bit of a noise in the front. And since this one's new, if it's wheel bearing noise, it would have to be the other side. But there's something that I did while I was at the dealership is I ordered, moving on to some actual stuff here now, a actual factory wheel well liner that's much thicker than this aftermarket one I got off eBay, which is very thin. As you can see, it's already worn a big old hole through the darn thing because it's so thin. When the air is blowing through here, it's pushing this back, and this is rubbing on the tire and chewing this up. And so I got a factory one that's not so darn thin that'll work. So I don't know if that's the noise I'm hearing. I mean, I'm barely touching it. You can see how flimsy that crap is. So I got a factory one. But I don't know if that's the noise that I'm hearing, because I'm even hearing it sometimes at slow enough speeds that the wind shouldn't be pushing on that. So we'll change it out on the other side, but still I don't know why, if that code doesn't sometimes mean the right front, which the technician said, no, I've never heard of that. And I'm like, well, I have found it online, a bunch of stuff about it. But anyway, so if that doesn't take care of the problem, then it has to be the electronic brake control module. And they were saying it'd be super expensive. Well, I looked it up online, and when I just Googled electronic brake control module for a 2012 Chevy Camaro, pulled up gobs of them for less than $200 for brand new ones. And then when you put it in, I believe it's really held on with like 4 screws. You put it on the ABS pump, and then it has to be programmed. So then I would take it in and have them program it, flash it, which is like, $100 or something, whatever it is. But I'm not going to pay them all that labor work to swap it over just to find out if it's a wheel bearing, when they should be able to plug in their scanner with GM software, communicate specifically with the electronic brake control module to know if there's a fault or something shorted on the inside. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys get involved here a little bit or whatever. I want to get everybody's opinion, and you can put it in the comments what you think. So I got some rear window louvers for the vehicle, and it came with side mark or quarter glass too. So I'm going to show you a before and then an after. So let's get it pulled out, get it on the vehicle. I'm just going to set it on there, and then you guys can comment and let me know what you think. And whatever we get the most comments on for with or without is what we'll go with. So. Okay, so I got the black lights for the rear here, so we're going to get these popped out and get these new ones put in. They're smoked black. We'll see how I like them. They're not an exact match to the front, but I had ordered the front and rears because I couldn't find them in the rear. But these ones have a textured black outline around them versus the ones I put up front are all smooth all the way around. So, but these are what I have for now, so I'll put them on, and if I don't like the fact that they don't match, I have the matching front ones that came in this kit that I could put up there, but I do prefer the all gloss ones. So, but I'll put these ones on for now. They're just supposed to be black or light up red in the center so that they match what's back here. So anyway, all right, let's get them on. All right, you can see, be better to see them in the daylight, but I have a nice red line that goes through them for the light. Got both sides changed out. You can see it better on this side, but looks a heck of a lot better than the bright red ones that go there. They look nice and sleek with a single line going through them that lights up, and then when it's off, it just goes back to solid black. So anyway, all right, cool. Okay, so the vertical doors kit just came in the mail, so I'm going to unbox it and take a look. So here's the directions. Got some wire loom for extending the wires in the door and covering them up with loom. I got the hinges. I'm assuming this is the driver's side because it has a D on it. This will be the passenger side. Be the shocks inside here, and then all the hardware. So let's get it all unwrapped and take a look at it. Okay, so I got them all unboxed. They look pretty good. You got both shocks, you got the hardware, you got the hinges for either side, and then you got the instructions over here. So I'm going to get the shock installed on the bolt, not in the pivoting ball joint. And it says to use thread locker, so I'm going to put some red thread locker on it. Then the shocks will be mounted up, so let's do that. I'm going to get hinges assembled on the bench and adjusted as I can before I go worrying about mounting them on the vehicle. So. Okay, so the first order of business is you got to get the door check off that keeps the door from opening and closing too far, because obviously that can't work when the door is going up. So in order to get that off, the door panel has to come off, because you can unbolt it from the body here, but on the inside you got to get it off, otherwise it'll just be in there banging around and looking like crap. I guess it won't really bang around because it'll be tight on the inside, but this arm will still stick out a little way. So to take that off, you got to pull the door panel off. So let's get the door panel off so we can get it removed. Okay, so now I got the door panel off and the speaker removed, then you can get right through here to remove the door check. So let's get that off. Okay, so we got the door catch out, and I put the bolt back in here so water can't get back in there. So now we just need to put the door panel on, because I don't need the door panel off anymore, because all the lengthening of the wire is actually just cutting the loom, or the rubber loom that's on there, and extending the wire from inside, because there's excess wire back here and it's held in with a pin. Once you undo that pin that just keeps to the side, you can pull the excess out and then zip tie it with the new loom in there and lengthen it that way. You don't actually have to cut the individual wires and rewire them. So we're gonna get the door panel back on because we're all done with that part. So all right, let's get that done. Okay, so now I got to get the door all taped up so it doesn't move when I undo the hinges. So, all right, let's get it taped up. Okay, so I got the door all taped up. This is a point that's obviously going to be having more weight on it because it's already got the door catch that's back there. So I put extra tape here to really hold it from moving. And then you put it all the way around the top to hold the weight upward, and then around the side or whatever so that the door jamb can't move, and then a little bit here to keep pressure on there. And then I ran it along the bottom too so the bottom can't kick out at all. So that should be good and taped. Now I can start undoing the hinges here and cut the boot so it can be elongated. Let's get the hinges off so we can get the new one bolted in place. Okay, so I unplugged the harness and brought it around so I could get this up in place. It's easy to just hand tight, but I realized that this plug, when it's on there, it'll be just behind this, so that actually has to be on there before I put this in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in the center or somewhere around here, which is where it says to cut it. And then I'm going to pop this grommet out. Actually, I'll probably pop the grommet out first and pull the excess wire through, and then cut this, and then put the loom on it, zip tie it, tape it, that good stuff. So let's do that. Okay, so I got the hinge all installed. I believe the wire goes on this side, because if the one on the other side would be pretty smashed, but we'll see when it goes up. I'm not sure if it'll be in the way of the arm, but there's excess enough for it to get up to like here, and I don't think it's going to go much higher than that. So I need to get the tape all pulled off, and then I'll put some small strips of tape on there and put a line before I open it. That way when I adjust it, I can just line that line back up, and then the hinge or the latch should be perfectly lined up. So all right, let's get the tape off. Okay, I know it's getting dark out here, but so you can see what I did. So I put the tape there, I drew a line, and then I cut the tape so that it's separated. And then I'll know exactly when the door is lined back up, exactly where it's at when I open it and do the adjustments. So, all right, well, I think that's all I can do for tonight. Okay, so it's the next day. It got too dark to really film anymore last night, so I got the the door all adjusted and the shock installed properly and the door operating properly. So let me show you that. Got a nice even gap all the way around. So the door opens up. And the door lifts up and operates like it's supposed to. Stuff, put this trim piece on the side of the dash, then pop that out to get this lower piece off to extend the wire a little bit farther. You can see there. So, and I got the parts greased that rub together, so it's not just metal on metal. So we got the passenger side all finished up, looking good. So now we just need to finish putting the trim piece on the side of the dash and whatnot, and then start working on the other side. Get the other door taped up, and after it's all taped up, then remove the hinges, extend the wire so that it's longer again by undoing the piece on the inside. So before I tape the door up, I'll actually pop that off and extend the wire first, and then I'll tape the door up. That way I don't have to deal with it afterwards. And then we'll get this hinge put in, and then after the hinge is installed, we need to see what part of the inner part of the fender has to be cut. So all right, let's get this side all finished up. So okay, let's get into it. Okay, so I have the wire lengthened. All you have to do is cut the boot in half, undo the wire on the inside from the little clip, and then pull the excess wire through. You have to pop this grommet out and cut the rubber backing off because it's taped to it. That way the actual wire can slide through it, otherwise it just stays in the same spot. And then you push the boot back up against the body, pop it back in, and then pull the excess wire through, and then you tape it. So now I've gained about 3 to 4 inches there. So that should be enough for the door to go up. So you just rehook this on there and then mount up the hinge. Have to remove this bracket here still, so I'm going to get that plugged in, remove this bracket, and then start undoing the old hinges. Okay, so I got the hinge all installed. I put grease on the little nub here that the plate rides on, and grease back here where the stopper pushes on, so it's not just pushing straight into metal. I need to put a little bit right here once I open the door, between where it touches right there. And then I still need to put the pin in the bottom of the shock. But the door operates now like it's supposed to. Opens up. And goes up nice and smooth. So, door's all installed. Now I can put a little bit of grease right here. You can see the mark where it touches or whatever, just that way it's not bare metal on metal. And then it'll be finished. I just gotta put the little trim pieces back in here, and then I need to figure out what part of the fender I have to cut, because of the way the shock is right here. When it swings out, it will hit on the inside of the fender, so you have to cut the inside part of the fender out. So, all right, well, the door's installed, so let's see what we need to do to the fender. Okay, so I put it up on the vehicle to see where I need to cut it, and it looks like I need to cut it right along this line. I'm not going to cut it all the way at the bottom. I'm going to stop somewhere around about here, because this area right here, it comes with a bracket to be able to bolt it to the body, which takes place of this one that you're cutting out. So I'll probably only cut it down to about here, and then I'll test fit it up and see if I need to go any farther. But for now, I'll just cut it down to here, right along this line. So, all right, let's get it cut. Okay, so I got everything cut on the fender that needs to be cut. Now I just need to go and tighten it down and adjust it and get it to where the gap's just right, and then the fender will be back on this side. Then I have to do the other side as well. So, all right, let's get that done. Okay, sorry, my battery died. I was just popping the pin in the driver's side piston on the bottom. So anyway, all right, let's get this side cut. Okay, you can see nice clean gap all the way down. That's the passenger side. And the driver's side. All right, so now I just gotta get the front end put back on, and then get the wheel well liner put back in. So let's get the front end on. Okay, so I got the front end all back on now. I just gotta get the wheel well liners back in, so let's get these in. Okay, so I thought leaving this would be a good idea, so like put the other bracket on here, but it's solid enough and it'll look cleaner if I follow this line from here straight down and get rid of this little tab, because it'll just look so much better without that. So let's get that cut off. Okay, as you can see, it looks a lot cleaner without having that little tab sticking out right there. So all right, just got to do the other side real quick. Okay, so I got this side cut. Got rid of the little tab that stuck out there, so nice and clean looking now. All right, okay, I just have to get this wheel well liner in and then put the side piece on the dash on that side, and I'll leave them all finished up. All right, so we got it all done, so I brought it out here to a parking lot so we can get around it and see it really well. Let's take a look at it. Looks pretty damn good. I think it matches the whole Transformer vibe. Okay, so I got one of the finishing touches for the vehicle. Let's open up the box and take a look. I was able to find this by going to the dealership and getting the part number from them, because the part is discontinued. So here is the actual part number. If you Google the part number, you can find them for sale online, brand new OE from somebody who bought all the excess parts that they had when they stopped stocking them. So now I have one of the original brand new headliners with the yellow stitching. I can put on one of the final touches. And there we go. Got a replaced headrest. So now I just got to get the kick seal for the other side, and then a new RS badge for the rear, and the car will be literally almost 100% complete. Need to get a little badge for the front to go on this little plate right here, and get an RS one to put on there. Still haven't figured out what the traction control light is on for, whether it be the electronic brake control module or what's going on. So I still have to figure that out. So when I drive it, I drive real careful, because the brakes literally, when I'm driving it, sometimes the brake pedal will literally pulse back at me, and the brakes don't work very well, and they basically lock up. Even though they don't, like, you know, cause the tire to skid or nothing, I can start smelling brakes when it happens. So Right now I just have to drive it real careful and be safe with it, so I don't want to drive it very much until I get everything 100%. Then I can, you know, have a little bit of fun with it. So, but all right, well, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys liked it, and stay tuned for the next one. The next one, we might be working on something different or whatever. Maybe we'll do a walkthrough of all the vehicles that I have and see what everybody wants to see me work on next. So, all right, we'll catch you in the next one.